Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Se Vuelve Podcast. My name is Monica, and I want to thank you for being here. Let me just state the obvious, get it off, rip the Band-Aid, whatever you want to call it. Monica, where the hell have you been? I believe the last time I talked to you guys, it was about 2 months ago. During that time, I think I mentioned they were asking me to work this assignment, right? And it was going to be anywhere from the minimum 3 weeks, at most a month. Obviously, it's the end of October, and my assignment went longer than that. Well, last week was the first week that I can say I was officially off my long-term assignment. It went on from August 18th, I believe, was the first day I worked, and then the last day was, I believe, October 10th. It's almost 2 months. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It feels a little intimidating coming back, but also I think it's because obviously when I had first started this podcast, or the second season, quote unquote, unofficially, I talked about my goals, my aspirations, what I wanted to do with the podcast. Talked about how I was gonna do 25 episodes for 2025, and now obviously I haven't podcasted in almost 2 months. I guess like my plans have been completely derailed. I don't know what this is going to look like from now in the future. Like, who knows if another assignment comes up. What I do know, right, is that we're back and hopefully consistently on a weekly basis. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to have this little bit of a creative project I very much enjoy doing. And then I do have stories about my long-term assignment, but I think what I'm going to end up doing is that I'm going to leave some of those stories for like specific different episodes, because it's been a very, very long 2 months. So this episode is just kind of like a little update. I am giving myself grace, right? Because even though, and I tell everybody this, even though I was off last week, I wasn't like off. Last week was a catch up. It was doing things that I hadn't done in the last 2 months. Obviously, I don't remember if in my last podcast I talked about that I had things that I wanted to do, but because they called me like very last minute, I wasn't able to get those things done. Like as simple as like get a haircut, get my eyebrows done, right? So last week was a little bit of time off, but also of a catch up. I ended up taking my car to be maintenance, then having to take my car the next day to a mechanic because there was this issue that I ran across when I was working, and I thought it was, like something minor. And then at the end of the week, Friday, after running around like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was like, you know what? Let's go get that haircut. I come home, like the weather's nice outside, and I was like planning to clean my room, but I was like, no, I don't feel like cleaning my room. I'm going to use this as a self-care day. So I went to go get my hair cut. Then I was able to get scheduled in for a pedicure, and then I got my brows done. I don't know if it's just me, but I always feel good after. There's something about just getting that like pampering, right? That made me feel really good. It like boosts like my confidence and stuff like that. I did all that running around kind of like Tuesday through Thursday, because I didn't even mention this, but Friday afternoon or so to Monday, I ended up taking a road trip to Minnesota to one of my childhood friends' weddings. It was so nice. It was like the first weekend that I got to just kind of get away from my town, the school, everything, even though I was technically supposed to be off on that Friday. But that's a story for a future episode. I ended up going in, and then we ended up leaving for Minnesota around like 1 p.m.-ish or something like that. I did that, then came back on Monday evening, like 6 p.m., 7-ish. And next day was like cleaning, and then the other errands like Wednesday, Thursday. It was nice because, like I said, I was finally able to pamper myself on Friday. And then I feel like over the weekend I still did a little bit of cleaning. Today, which is like Tuesday, I was finally able to kind of like sleep in and not really have to do like much, which is like, it was like the first day I could truly just kind of like relax. I'm relaxing, but I'm doing a podcast. I really went through it. The last 2 months was rough, and it's nice to be not having like this big long responsibility as much that I know that how much I help these these students, the school and stuff. But it's nice to kind of have like the flexibility to build your schedule and to also relax. I am going to be working a couple days the next couple days, but it's just like 1 day assignments. I know one of the teachers was like, I don't want to see you till like the beginning of November. And I'm like, yeah, like I would like to take that much time off, but once again, it's like my job, right? I want to talk about this more in like future episodes, but I am so grateful being able to work with the individuals that I got to work with. Like it just makes me so happy. Like a human connection makes me so happy, and being able to kind of like create like bonds and like friendships with people. Now like every once in a while we go like out to dinner. So I built like a little community at the school, so it was nice. But I am happy to be off and get back into this because obviously this is like my little creative project. Like I said, I don't know what this is going to look like. I feel like I shouldn't make any kind of like promises because not that promises, but like statements, I guess, because obviously of what I said at the beginning of this year or at the beginning of this season, unofficial season, things get thrown in the road and you have to take a different direction. So but hopefully, at least if I can release a couple episodes till the end of the year, I will be happy. That said, I am looking into like different, I guess the right word is platforms, right? The different platforms to continue to kind of like stream my podcast due to kind of the political climate that we're at and the way specific platforms are using their money to hurt communities, POC communities, immigrant communities. I will be taking my podcast off of those platforms and release where I can. So that's also something that I have to kind of like figure out and work around because obviously we're unfortunately in this time where these injustices are happening. I am going to keep this episode short. As always, I just want to say thank you to anyone who tunes in to listen. I would appreciate if you could leave a review and would be grateful if you could let me know what information resonated with you. Please follow and share on social media. The pages are at Se Vuelve Podcast or my personals at Se Vuelve Monica. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Nos vemos pronto. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.